And today we're doing a plant-based chat with Dianne Wenz. And it is Wenz, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always say it like 7 different ways in my head. It's like Worcestershire sauce, only like the short
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. It's like Wednesday.
Wednesday. I like that. That I can remember because it's one of my favorite Addams Family characters.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a shocker. Um, there was an Addams Family musical that came here several
Oh.
years ago in the before times, and I took Cheryl, and I had such a good time. I thought it would be horrible, but it was lovely. Um, like today is not a 90 plus day here in North Carolina, Perhaps I will talk before this is over. Fingers crossed, people. Send your good talking vibes. Um, I took a walk this morning because it was below 70 degrees when I got up, and it was lovely, and we walked around, and now it's getting kind of hot, and it's very, very sunny. You guys can kind of see that. So I'd love to know what the weather's like wherever you guys are. I know that there's like a serious heat wave, kind of like Arizona, Texas kind of area, like dangerous hot. So I
Mm.
hope all of you guys are being safe. And today I have Dianne with me from Dianne's Vegan Kitchen, and you totally need to follow her because she has delicious, healthy recipes. And I think we were trying to talk about when we kind of met and got to know each other, and I think it was probably like 2011 or 2012. It was not long after my first book came out.
It was probably 2012 because what happened in 2012, my background's in graphic design, and I worked at this company. I worked at a scrapbooking company, and I absolutely hated it. It sounds like it should be fun, but it was terrible. And they went out of business in 2012, and I was actually a little happy to lose my job because I had all kinds of other things I wanted to do, and that was a great excuse to get started. And so on the side, I started working for a publisher part-time. It was like 6 8 hours a week, and I was doing blog tours for them, which people don't do anymore, but that's when a new cookbook would come out and everybody would have a different recipe on their blog a different day of the week. And I think that's how I met a lot of different bloggers, was just from
Mhm.
emailing them working there. And so I think that's how we met. We knew each other for a while before we actually met in person.
And there was Vegan Con. The last one was in Austin, I think.
Hmm.
And so I think that's when we met in person because we ate a bunch of places, and it was super,
Yeah.
super fun.
Yeah, I remember sitting outside at oh, what was the name of the place? It's blue on the outside, and they have the most amazing sandwiches. We split this cheese platter, and I got eaten alive on the back of my legs from mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, I remember that. And I don't remember if we went together too, or if it was just me and oh my God, Fat Free Kitchen. Why am I forgetting? She's my
Oh,
friend.
Susan.
Susan Boysen. Thank you. We went and had barbecue where they have pigs out back,
Oh,
which
I didn't go there. I
which
heard
sounds
about
weird.
that.
Okay, so it was a vegan barbecue place. So I want everyone to understand. So we went to a vegan barbecue place. They had a big smoker, and then you got to go in the back, and there were a pen of pigs, and you could feed them your leftovers.
Oh.
It was awesome.
Uh,
And Apple says that she loves your wall of spices.
Oh, okay, thank you. So this, I can't take credit for this. I saw this on a website and I stole their idea. It was the website Brit and Co. and it was a houseboat, and it was a much smaller version. So these are IKEA picture legends, and
Oh,
these are IKEA spice jars. And then I just got lids. So everything's actually alphabetical. And the whole thing, I mean, it sounds pricey for a spice rack, but the whole thing was less than $100, and that's all the jars and everything. And the spice, these were a little longer. My husband cut them so that it would be the exact size of the wall. And then you probably can't see it, but they're actually little. He cut down shish kebab skewers so that they wouldn't fall off. So
that's awesome. See, I have mine alphabetized. Mine are back here. So, well, the main thing is in here, and then I have a lot of them in little jars. And then in here and in some bins, I have more like my Indian backup spices and my Middle
Uh-huh.
Eastern backup spices.
And I know you're not supposed to put spices above the stove, but it's the most convenient spot. My pantry is right here. This is a very small kitchen, and my pantry is right there. And there's a step, and I had my spices in there originally when we moved in, and I was constantly going back and forth, make sure I don't fall down the little step. And it's just so convenient to have them above the stove. So I know it's supposed to cut down on the life of your spices, but it's just more convenient. So.
Well, it's a little different when you're doing recipe development, though. I mean, you go through a lot more. Like, I have people shop in my spice bins in my pantry because when I'm buying it, like, so last time I got Mexican oregano, I got a pound because I'll go through several jars.
Mm.
Because even though we're a family of two, I'm not cooking like a family of two.
Same here, exactly. Yeah.
So, and tell us, I see a book back there. So let's hear, you have some books, so I want to hear about them.
I
And
have.
what's your latest one,
So,
too?
so this was actually my first cookbook. It's the Truly Healthy Vegan Cookbook. The things that I'm going to be making today are from this. And what I did here was I replaced, it's kind of a beginner's book, but it's very vegetable heavy. So like I replaced meat with vegetables. Like there's a cauliflower banh mi, and like there's tomato soup that's got other things mixed in. It's got maybe that's the other recipe. The other cookbook. So I mix vegetables in, like there's a cream sauce that's made with cauliflower,
Yeah.
and there are just it's sneaky. It's kind of a sneaky, the cheese sauce is made with carrots and cauliflower. So it's very vegetable heavy. There's artichoke tacos, and
Mm.
just I try to make this very sneaky
And tell me the name of that one more time.
It's the Truly Healthy Vegan Cookbook.
And can we order it from your site, or do we just order it from Amazon? Can we order copies
Just
directly from you?
No, I don't have any. So you would order it
Okay.
from Amazon or Barnes and Noble, or any place that sells books.
Okay.
And then my second cookbook was a true beginner's cookbook. It's just called Eating Vegan, and it's got very easy recipes. It's got the tofu tuna and the tofu or chickpea tuna, and tofu egg salad, a basic tofu scramble. It's a really good beginner's cookbook. And then my latest one, which is in hardcover, I think you can get it in
Ooh.
both softcover and hardcover. It's the Big Book of Vegan Cooking. This book took forever to make. It's got 175 recipes, and I went crazy with this. I made all kinds of crazy things. There are some basic things in here, like a creamy coconut soup, but I also made like a bacon chicken ranch, which is seitan chicken, and the ranch is made with tofu, and the bacon is made with
Mm.
tempeh. So it's still all vegan and semi-healthy, but I went kind of nuts. And there are really easy things in here as well, like a curried chickpea wrap and tempeh wraps. But I also tried to make vegan versions of things I loved when I was little. Like I grew up on steak-umm sandwiches, so there's a seitan sandwich, and just spicy cauliflower piccata. That's one of my favorites. And
That looks really good.
so yeah, so I went a little nuts with this one, just making vegan versions of everything I could think of.
I
So
love
this
that.
is beginners, but there's something for anyone in that one.
And Apple says that she has that book and she loves it.
Oh, thank
So
you.
you already have a fan. So that gives us a little bit of insight into the kind of cooking you like to do. But do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your blog and some of the things that you do besides recipe development and writing cookbooks?
Yeah, so I actually I taught myself how to cook. I went vegetarian in '93, and there was nothing vegetarian at the time. There was one veggie burger. It was gross. I remember one time my mom made dinner, and for me, it was a bag of frozen carrots, corn, and lima beans. You remember that mix? Like that was
Hmm.
supposed to be my dinner. And I think she also made beef rice-a-roni. And I was like, this is not, first of all, that's not vegetarian, but this is gross. So I taught myself how to cook. I got vegetarian times. and I got a cookbook from PETA. It's called Please Don't Eat the Animals. And I made everything in that PETA book. I made everything in Vegetarian Times, taught myself how to cook. And I love, I realized I love cooking. So I had mentioned before my background's in design, and I realized it was just another creative outlet to have fun with. And I put up a website back when I went vegan in 2001 or 2001. And I put up a website. It was called Veggie Girl. And people started emailing me, asking me for help to going vegan. And I was spending a lot of time answering their emails. And I was like, I should get paid for what I'm doing. And not that I want to make money off of people going vegan, but time is money.
Well, and let's stop and have just a quick side conversation about this. So there was back in the day, a lot of people that we will never have ads, we will never do this. Well, and that's fine if it's a hobby. But then what happens is people like Dianne and me, it becomes our job. And so when you go and view our blogs, we get some ad money. When you buy through an affiliate link, we get some of that. But then we also come back around and provide you with a lot of free recipes that we test, right? And that we are experienced at doing. Like I've created more than 1,000 recipes. So, I feel pretty secure in my ability to do that. And so I think especially early 2000s, maybe even to 2015 almost, there was a section of the vegan blogging community that was very anti getting paid, it was all supposed to be this energy exchange. There's nothing wrong with that. So I just know a lot of you don't know this. So there would be little things to say, we will never put ads. And are ads annoying? Yes, but ads by the cactus pears that I'm getting ready to make something with. So
and it takes days to create a recipe, photograph it, write up your blog post. It takes days to do that kind of thing. And it's nice to get paid for your work. We have to pay for our mortgage and pay for the
and we have to
the
pay
groceries.
The groceries are very expensive. So that's one of the reasons why I do a lot with creating homemade staples, or twofold. One for people because usually you either have some extra time or money. And usually, so if you have that extra money, you can go ahead and buy the Worcestershire sauce and use the gas to get to the store. But if you don't, then you can make it at a cheaper thing, but it does take more time. And so, I think that we try to look at what some of the problems and issues are. And I take requests from people and try and hopefully teach them how to make their own recipes. So we just remember that. And Apple's saying we've become so conditioned to create content for free. Nope, get paid for your work. And I told you we might end up on I feel like this is almost slightly controversial, but not really, because you don't go to the doctor and think the doctor shouldn't, okay, Canadian people, maybe you don't have to pay to go to the doctor. Let's say
here in the U.S.
You don't go to the Apple store to get apples or the produce store to get cabbage and expect the farmer just to give it to you, because they put a lot of effort into it. However, what I think is wonderful about the plant-based and vegan content community, and what I try to do is there are different levels you can help support us, right? Watching this video supports me. Buying through an affiliate link, if you're buying something already, helps support me. Going to my website to get a recipe, all of that supports me, and it doesn't cost any extra money. And then if you have some money, you can join Kathy's Cooking Club. And honestly, if people are in a bind, I used to do a lot of scholarship announcements, but then people weren't taking me up on it. But if you're in a bind and you explain to me, we can talk about how that can get discounted and things like that as well. So I think you'll find in our side of the world, it's not like I'm saying, give me $1,000 and I'll make you a recipe, right? And I want everyone to have this wonderful vegan recipes and concepts and ideas and learn how to cook be available to everyone, but probably Diane's books are in the library. My books are in the library. I'm just as happy as if you check a book out. And that's why I want them to be in libraries, is for people who can't afford to buy them. I still want that information available to them.
Yeah, yeah. So, so from there, from people asking me for help, I decided I was miserable as a graphic designer. I had worked all these jobs that seemed like they should be fun. I worked for a toy company. I worked in a company that made licensed children's products, and I was the art director of a scrapbooking company, and they were all making me super miserable. So I decided to become a health coach. So I became a health coach in 2009. And so I work with people who want to go vegan, they want to do it in a healthy way. And I also work with people who are already vegan and have some health issues, or they want to lose some weight, or they want to reduce stress. And stress is the big one. So I work with people. Yeah.
I
So,
switched you to full screen, but you didn't know
okay.
that. But I raised my hand, but you can't see, but there's a little kitty looking through the bottom window. It's so, well, it's moved its head now because, oh, now it's looking because you turned around. But
That's Tallulah. She was actually just right here because you can get around the kitchen. The kitchen goes around both ways. She was just right here looking at me, and I guess because I wasn't giving her attention, she went around there. So that's Tallulah, and Tallulah actually has her own Instagram account. It's Tallulah's Tales, and it's tails like a cat tail, Tails, Tallulah's Tales. So you can see Tallulah on Instagram too. She's sassy. She's got her own little. She's got Tallulah sass.
oh, I love that. I love that. So, if I was going to work with you as a health coach, how would I start to get in touch with you, or what would we do, or what would that look like?
So you just need to go to my website. You can email me. My email address is Dianne at diannesvegankitchen.com. And Dianne has two N's, Dianne. You can go to my website, Dianne's Vegan Kitchen, and email me through there. And I always start with a free consultation. So we can talk about your goals, and we can talk about what it would be like to work with me, and just see what it is you want to accomplish.
I love that. And Apple says maybe we'll get to see Clementine Kitty too.
Oh, so Clementine's actually in the bedroom. Clementine had cancer in her paw. I was telling Kathy about this earlier. Clementine had her leg amputated, her right leg amputated a week and a half ago. She's doing amazingly well. She's walking around, she's jumping in windows, she's doing so well. She jumped up on the bed, she's doing really well with 3 legs. It's been 9 or 10 days, and she's just doing amazingly well as a 3-legged kitty.
That's amazing how fast she's just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Her paw was bothering her. It hurt because she had a little tumor in the paw pad. So
oh,
it hurt to press down. So she was kind of walking around on 3 legs anyway. So I think she had practice.
I
But
like
she's
that.
doing really well.
Apple says all hugs and kisses and treats for Clementine.
Oh, thank
And
you.
Valerie says hello to us. And now I'm going to let you finish.
That was it. So I've got 4 cats. There's Rupert and Murray. Murray I found in November 2020, and I just happened to be outside with cat food because there were other stray cats I was going to feed, and Murray went running down the street. He was super skinny. I coaxed him over with food. We brought him inside. We were not going to keep him. But he was super sweet, and he's in my husband's office. And so my husband was like, I want to keep him. And he's still not fully integrated because we were having problems with him attacking the other cats. But we're working with a pet behaviorist, and he comes up for meals, and he commingles on a leash. So he's our COVID project, but he's still our project.
Well, and I'm switching back to both of us now too, because like everybody doesn't really know that I have a new Cat Fergus who found us. So, and it's a longer story. So like he was a stray, we were feeding him, we were actively trying to see if we thought he was a neighbor's cat. And then we got a little more serious. Then we thought we found his owner, and we didn't. And she didn't return her call after she took the cat. And then she called us 3 weeks later. Oh, I took him to the ASPCA, which we had said we wanted him. And he actually got sick there, but he's doing fine. So he's been with us, I guess we're week 2-ish.
Oh, okay.
So we're in brand new, and he's like this big orange guy with giant paws, and he's pretty mellow. But like he definitely was living outside for like 4 or 5 months. So we're trying to get Max used to him. So all the baby gates, anyone who's had mixing animals, so like all the baby gates, we've got the ones with the little cat doors are going up everywhere. And
Yeah.
it's going to be a little crazy. I'm just trying not to think about it. But he's such a soothing cat. And I don't know if you can hear the dog. I don't know. And he's in the bedroom, so I don't know what's going on down there right now. And then probably the other, because we have an 18-year-old cat too, so he was always real respectful to her because he could totally take her. And whenever she'd be like, ah, and she's like 18 and feeble, and he just backs off. The one time we let him out to kind of come upstairs to meet him, she jumped through the tines of the stairs trying to get on top of him.
Oh.
So, yeah, I know those stories. Oh, and Apple says he loves the name Fergus. Yeah, he just seemed like he needed, because one of the other things too is, there was a young coyote. So Cheryl loves to have we have cameras all around the house, which is more than I can't concentrate on that. But there is actually a thing where Fergus chases away a young coyote out of the yard.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's like and he had kind of picked us. He got up on the deck and he got up in my face and laid there, and then.
That's how we got Rupert. Both Rupert and Murray were strays that we found. And they're both orange. They're both big orange cats.
You know, he may be the sweetest cat. I haven't had a boy cat in a while, but I do find that boy cats are often sweeter than girl cats.
And orange orange boys are really sweet.
He is a little, he's a nugget. He's super sweet and flirty. And when he smacks you, he keeps his claws in. And I'm like, so Moxie's about 18, and it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago we lost Irma, and she was like 21. So I'm used to old cranky girl cats that are like, you do what I tell you to do. And he's just like, hey. So with all of that, I'm going to switch you back to full screen and let you, I don't know, cook for us.
Okay. So I'm going to make 2 things. I'm going to make chickpea cookie dough bites first, and then I'm also going to make date truffles. And I decided when I first planned this with Kathy, I had just said the cookie dough bites, but I realized cookie dough bites take about 5 minutes to make. So I decided to make 2 things. They're both really super simple. You just need a food processor. They only take a couple minutes. They're great for the summer because you don't have to heat up your kitchen. You don't have to do anything other than mix stuff together in a food processor and roll it into a ball. So this is the cookie dough bites. I got chickpeas here. This was a can of chickpeas. You can make your own chickpeas if you want. Start from dry. I've got half a cup of rolled oats. Then I've got peanut butter. So you can use any kind of butter. If you are allergic to peanuts, you like almonds, use almond butter. If you're allergic to nuts, you can use sunflower butter. I'm sure I've seen other butters that I haven't tried. Like I've seen soy nut butter. I haven't tried that. I don't know if it would probably work with tahini. I think any kind of nut butter or seed butter will work in this.
It's so funny because I love tahini, but I hate tahini in desserts. I have so few little weird quirks like that. But I was thinking sunflower butter, but yeah, and it's only me. Everybody else who's watching is like, tahini would be great in that.
I have a tahini truffle recipe on my website that's just tahini and chocolate, and it's so good. And then we've got maple syrup. This is a quarter cup of maple syrup.
And you could probably use date syrup in place if you wanted to. Yeah, I'm team maple
Mhm.
syrup too. Like I love the way maple syrup tastes.
Yeah, I'm sure date syrup would be great. That was vanilla. This is half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then there's a little bit of salt, a quarter teaspoon of salt. I know not everybody is into salt, but it brings out the flavors. If you just put a little bit of salt into something, it really helps with flavors. So I took the Ruby plant-based professional cooking class a few years ago, and there was a project where we had to boil potatoes in regular water and then boil potatoes in salted water with a bay leaf and then compare. And the ones that were boiled in the salt, the flavor was so amazing. So it's just in there to help bring the flavors out. So I'm going to make some noise now. We just want to pulse this until it gets sticky. So it's going to look like cookie dough batter. And you could probably just eat this as like a cookie dough dip too. Um, so it's still a little. I'm not going to lift it up just yet. It's still a little chunky. I'm just gonna. It's okay if there's a little chunk to it too. It's all right. But I'm just gonna process it for like another few seconds. It's all right if you see whole oats, if you see partial chickpeas, that's totally fine. And I don't have a kitchen island, so this is just a folding table, and it's kind of wonky.
If you didn't tell us that, we wouldn't have noticed. Because I thought, wow, that's a great kitchen island. That's really nice and wide.
Yeah, it's just a folding table. I've got a little vintage kitchen. My house was built in '49, and I don't think the kitchen's been updated since then. So this is just some vegan chocolate chips, dairy-free chocolate chips. It's just the Trader Joe's brand, nothing fancy. I'm just going to pulse it a little bit to mix the chips in and to break them up a little bit. Do it quick. I think if you had like the mini chips, I think there's a brand that makes mini vegan chips. Those are good too if you want like more chocolate. Yeah, enjoy life.
And you know what? I found these new chips actually. I've just been melting, and they're kind of small. Here, okay. So let's see. What are they? Endangered species chocolate, premium baking chips. It's oat milk and chocolate.
Oh, nice.
They're vegan and fair trade. So it's just cocoa mass, sugar, cocoa butter, and vanilla.
Nice. So here's Rupert. Come here.
Oh, wait. No, that's what that one thing says. No, you can say that. Whole grain oats, because I'm like, where are the oats? I don't know why they listed that one thing there. I guess for the chocolate part. But,
Rupert's here, but he doesn't want to make his debut on camera. So here we have.
That looks so good.
And so I have this little scoop. You don't need to, if you don't have one of these, you just use a spoon. And I
love those scoops though.
I put parchment paper on a baking sheet just because this is where I put them in the fridge in. They're not going in the oven or anything, so it doesn't matter if you just put them on a plate, whatever you want to put them on. Just roll them into a little ball, and just do that until you finish. This makes the recipe says it makes 20 bites. I think it might make more than that. It really depends on how you roll it up, and then you just do that until you're done. Pop it in the fridge until they get hard, maybe an hour or so, and they'll stiffen up a little. And then just put them in a container and you're ready to go. And I find them highly addictive. When I make them, I'll grab one I'll put them in the fridge. I'll grab one out of the fridge, and then I'm like, it's just chickpeas and oats. I can have another one. And the next thing I know, I've eaten like half the container.
Yeah, those could be. I know you're making truffles after this, but I was thinking too, like you could roll those in cocoa or dip them in chocolate too, and I bet those would be.
I've made them. Yeah, I've dipped them in chocolate as well. Yeah, and they're more like a truffle if you dip them in chocolate. So that's it. I'm not going to make you watch me roll 20 things. That's it. Pop them in the fridge and you're done.
Oh, awesome. And
So
Apple's saying, Kathy, you have opportunity to answer, what the heck is chocolate liqueur? And it really is chocolate, and it's a good question. Chocolate liqueur, let me go here. Chocolate liqueur is, because you can make it, it's basically taking chocolate or cocoa and actually infusing it into a liquor, same way you do with vanilla, right? Like bourbon, the thing about bourbon vanilla is it's vanilla beans that have been infused into bourbon. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all the extracts, unless you can get non-alcoholic extracts, and you have to be real careful and check. They're usually with glycerin, I believe, but most start that way. So like I have an overnight oats that I'm saying put, I think I say a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon of rum. And I knew that was going to be very controversial for a breakfast, but I'm like, if you would put half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of vanilla, you're not getting any more alcohol this way.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tracy Reese wants to know, how long do those last in the fridge? And I'm going back to full screen for you.
I don't know because they've never lasted very long. I mean, I always say anything lasts about five days or so in the fridge, but they don't last very long. I've never tried freezing them, so I don't know if you can freeze them, but you can freeze just about anything.
I would think they would freeze pretty well. And actually, if it was like, if we were just talking to, I think there's like a big heat wave in like Arizona and Texas right now, like heat advisory kind of thing. And popping one of those out of the freezer, if it's that hot, it'll probably be,
Oh yeah,
edible pretty quickly.
yeah. So I'm not gonna wash my food processor just because I don't want you to have to watch me wash my food processor. But if you're making both, wash your food processor. And this will just add to the flavor of the other recipe. So the next thing I'm gonna make is date truffle.
Apple's saying, I think that dough would be good in a creamy creation. Everybody knows that I'm like in love with a creamy ice cream maker. And Diane and I were talking about that earlier too. I'm thinking if you made little bits of it and froze it. So I may be trying that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're making date truffles next. So I've got medjool dates. Medjools are softer, they're bigger, they're softer, they're chewier, they're kind of caramelly, so they're good in desserts. If you can't find them, you can use the other kind, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Deglet Nords. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
That's how I say it, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, so they've been sitting out all morning, so I've soaked these. If your dates are hard, if you're using the Deglet Nords, they're a little harder, you can soak them in water for about 20 minutes. If your medjools are harder, you can soak them for about 20 minutes. Make sure you pit them. These are all pitted. I left one without the pit, so you can see, you just have to pull it and pull the pit out. It's in there. It's just a little hard. So that will mess up your blade and your food processor, and it'll mess up your teeth if you leave it in there. You just have to pull that out. And sometimes they have the little bit where the stem was attached to. So this is a cup and a half of dates. I think it was 16 when I counted it. It's okay if it doesn't have to be exact. I'm using walnuts. These are just regular walnuts. I have made this with almonds. I've used almond flour. I've made it with different kinds of nuts. I'm sure it can be made with seeds. I haven't tried it with seeds, but I don't see why seeds wouldn't work. I bet it would even work with like that powdered peanut, the peanut powder. So first you start with the walnuts. You put them in the food processor and process it until they're ground like a flour. And it's okay if they're a little bit. I'm going to process it for another minute or another few seconds. Okay, and it's it's like a coarse flour.
Okay. So we want to make sure not to make it into nut butter.
Yeah, if you do too much, you're going to wind up with nut butter. It would probably work with nut butter too. I haven't tried it, but it would probably work. So I'm going to put the dates in there. And I haven't tried this, but I'm sure this would work with raisins as well. Craisins, maybe.
Ooh,
Any kind of dried fruit, it would probably work.
ooh, oatmeal
Um,
craisin ones sound really good.
yeah. This is just regular cocoa powder. It's a third a cup cocoa powder. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And again, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, just a pinch of salt. And then we process this until it's kind of a paste.
Jessie says her medjool dates are pretty hard. They've been in the fridge for a couple of years. I've got some stuff like that.
Just soak them. Just, yeah. I keep them in the fridge too. These have been in the fridge for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. Just soak them in water until they soften up. And you can use that soaking water too. Like put that soaking water in your smoothies and stuff. Don't dump the water because it's got a nice sweet flavor. Okay. So it's just a brown goopy mess.
I love that description.
And what we're gonna do, yeah, so you can roll this in anything you like. You can roll it in cocoa powder, in crushed nuts, in cacao nibs, in powdered sugar. What I'm gonna do is I've got some sesame seeds here. I've got a lot of sesame seeds. We love sesame seeds. We put it on everything. And so I always buy them in bulk. And it's the same thing. You just want to scoop it out, roll it into a little ball, and then roll it in whatever you'd like. And again, I have a parchment paper here. And it's the same thing. I just flung sesame seeds everywhere. The same thing. You just put that. So I just put this in the fridge on the sheet until they've hardened a little, an hour or so, and then I take them out and I put them in an airtight container.
Oh, I love that. And so you could probably roll them in coconut or cocoa. Or
Yeah.
I have done some in cocoa before, and I will say if you live in a humid place, you might have to re-cocoa them if you're giving them as a present.
Yeah. The cocoa will just kind of absorb into the truffle. Yeah, I've done them in shredded coconut, cacao nibs, crushed nuts, whatever you can think of, roll them in there. And if it's not sticking, this is nice and gooey, I think, because I had soaked my dates. If it's not sticking like this, you just dip your truffle in some water and then roll it in there and it'll stick.
And Linda's asking, are your cookbooks or recipes, are they oil-free or do you have oil-free options in them?
I do cook with oil. The Truly Healthy Vegan Cookbook has oil-free options, but anytime there's oil, you can omit it. You can use stock, you can use water. Yeah, the Truly Healthy Vegan Cookbook it has oil-free options, but the others don't. But just skip it and just cook with broth or water.
Yeah, I agree with that too because so if you're doing something that's baking, usually you can substitute a puree like pumpkin or applesauce or something, or avocado if you're able to eat avocado. I know a lot of people who are oil-free limit that as well. And it's always easy to water saute. And this probably doesn't apply to as many of your recipes, but I do find like if you're trying to make an Indian recipe oil-free, a lot of times the spices are sauteed in oil before other things happen, and you can toast them instead, either in a pan or in your oven.
That's a good tip. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. And like I said, they're both super easy. They both just take a few minutes, which is why I decided to make two things, because I knew it would just take a couple minutes to do this. And, you got a nice summer dessert where you don't have to turn the oven on. You got a chocolate hankering. You can have a truffle. I'm covered in it. It's a good thing I did these seconds.
Oh!
Hold on.
Take your time. We're all good. I'll go back to both of us.
Yeah, I don't wanna
Sometimes you
pick that
drop
up.
something into your dipping plate. I totally understand that. And Jesse says, I would think these would be good rolled in finely crushed pistachios or hazelnuts, and I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Jesse has an awesome tip for us too. You can saute Indian spices in crushed tomatoes or tomato sauce. That's also
Oh,
another great way to do it. So, because you can still
that
get
sounds
all
great.
those yummy flavors even if you aren't using oil. And it's not that difficult with most recipes. And once to change it from having oil to not, and the more you get used to it, the easier it becomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's really easy. Like sometimes people email me asking how to make things oil free, and it's just leave the oil out and use water or use stock. That's always my answer.
Yeah, it's super easy. And the only thing it can get a little complicated is baking, and it's going to have a different texture. But this is the way I look at it. Like, so when you go from eating all the things to being vegan, you get used to a little bit different consistency of cake and things. Not that there are some equivalents, but typically, if you're looking at two unhealthy versions, one with no eggs and dairy and one with that, the texture will be very similar. As soon as we start healthying up either side of that, the texture is going to change. But like, I have to eat gluten-free now. It's not by
Mm.
choice, right? So if I get a muffin that's a little heavy, the fact that I get a muffin is like a time to throw a celebration. Let's have a
Yeah,
parade.
yeah.
Kathy's having a muffin. So there is some of that. Like, even, it's not that you don't get to have all the things you want when you're a vegan or plant-based, because like what Diane was saying about her steakums, I made a steak and gravy with seitan when I could still eat wheat. And so there's so many things, you don't really have to miss anything. But
I
as
bet you could make that with soy curls.
I probably could. That's a good idea. I certainly could make an equivalent with soy curls, and I love my soy curls. Like, you
I know,
too?
me too. Yeah, I love soy curls. I watched last week's with Marley, and I was like, Marley's never heard of soy curls?
Right?
Yeah, I love my soy curls. Yeah, I buy them in bulk, and I cook with them all the time.
I've got a big box, and there's two people. I don't think they're on. It's Joanne. No, Marilyn was on earlier, and they get the big boxes and they sort them. So the real long pieces they put in one pile. The medium pieces they put in another, and any of the crumbles, and that way they make tacos with the crumbles and things like that from the big
Oh,
boxes.
nice, nice.
And Jesse was also saying, I like apple butter as an oil replacement rather than applesauce. And I can see that it's a little bit thicker and probably a little more stable for the heat since it's already
Okay.
been heated and
Yeah,
pureed.
I've used applesauce, and I've used pumpkin, and I've even used peanut butter, but I've never used apple butter. So that's a good tip.
Hmm, I like that. So I'm not sure what else to say right this second. I just got caught in a middle-aged moment. I'm just like, ooh, look at this, the crepe myrtles outside or something. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been making too many ice creams. That's what's wrong with me. I think I made 5 today and like 5 last night. Um,
Oh, wow.
I know, and I want some of that. I want you to magically bring some of that here so I can put it in the freezer, chop it up, and then try it in my. I made a base with toasted almonds, these oat chocolate chips, because I've got this new thing that I'm trying, which is like a little mini milk maker called the Nutter. I'm going to be
Oh,
doing a
nice.
video about it. But I just threw the chocolate chips, the whole toasted almonds, and some dates in there and water and made it into like a creamer. And I made it into, actually, I haven't put it in because I let it sit here. And it smells really good. So this is the creamy pint. So this is the creamer I made, and then I added some water to make it come up to the fill line. I'm going to freeze it, and then when it spins, it'll look like ice cream.
You know, years ago, we wouldn't have thought we could talk to each other video over this and other people watch it. So maybe 10 more years we can smell and we can pass each other food.
Oh, that would be the best. Yeah, I don't need to necessarily be, wouldn't hurt to be transported any place I wanted, but even if we could just have this size and have like a truffle go back and forth would be good
Yeah,
enough
just
for me.
pass you a truffle. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any projects coming up or blog posts you want us to make sure we're
Um,
watching?
I I have blog posts come out every Sunday and Wednesday, and I'll admit, I haven't been creating anything new, and that's because I've just been updating old posts, refolding, photographing old posts. My website went up in 2009, and it needs some help. So I've just been making things look new and pleasing Google because Google wants things a certain way. But I like it because I'm discovering old things, and I think my readers are also discovering things that they didn't know were on my blog. So, you can go to my blog every Monday or every Sunday and Wednesday and see new recipes, or you can sign up for my mailing list, and I'll remind you when new posts come out. You can just go to Diane's Vegan Kitchen. You'll see all that. Let's see. Yesterday's was a raw taco salad. Once again, don't need to heat anything up. Made in my trusty food processor. It's sunflower seeds and sun-dried tomatoes and spices, and then you just put it on a salad. I made a cheese sauce and some cashew sour cream, and then what's coming up this week? I don't remember. I do have a soy curl taco recipe that I think is next week. It's a take on Korean beef tacos, and
Oh,
it's soy curls that are sautéed in a spicy sauce, and then they're served with kimchi and a spicy mayo. And I have a mayo recipe on my website that's made with silken tofu. Um, Use that if you're oil free, because mayo is just oil, and it's got kimchi and scallions and avocados. It's my favorite taco. It's my favorite way to make tacos.
oh, that sounds really, really good. Yeah, I like tacos and taco salads for this time of the year too. And I think I'm actually writing up my classes for this month today, people, and I apologize because I don't know where 11 days went of this month. But we're not having
I
class
know
this
how.
Thursday.
Yeah. How is it the middle of July already?
I feel like that's how I know I'm an older person is because time moves really fast. And
Yeah.
but we're going to do a sushi class. We've done one sushi
Oh,
class in the
fun.
past, but we're going to do a different one, sushi class 2. And we're going to do a greens class because a friend of mine, actually my best friend, has been told to eat more greens because she has some eye issue, and so she's like, I don't know what to do with them, and I'm like, okay, let's eat them. That's all you have to do
Yeah.
is eat them. But yes, I will get you some
Yeah.
recipes. So we're probably going to make like a sag, like an Indian sag. We'll do southern greens. We'll probably do some kind of smoothie because smoothies are so easy to get greens in and stuff.
Yeah. It's a great way to hide them from picky eaters too. Just throw some spinach in there. Nobody knows that you're giving them greens.
It's true. That's how I got Cheryl to do it. And Cheryl wouldn't eat any greens, and she loves all greens now. But I made this up, but I call them Asian style greens, which don't exist out in the wild. So all it would have is soy sauce, um, orange juice, maybe a little zest, sometimes some sesame oil, and a little bit of liquid smoke. So I find if it's something that's a little bitter, if people have like something smoky, nutty, and or kind of a brighter citrusy something can be really
Hmm.
good. And so,
Yeah.
and sometimes a little sweet component. So to get her to eat Brussels sprouts, I use liquid smoke, maple syrup, and pecans, and a little bit
Oh,
of soy
nice.
sauce. And the thing is while that sounds super decadent and extravagant, I mean, I'm talking a tablespoon of pecans for a big plate because the flavor
Hmm.
really comes through. But, ooh, I like that. Apple says, I like Chinese 5-spice on my greens with a squeeze of orange.
Oh, that
Pretty
sounds
yummy.
delicious.
You know, Cheryl does not like Chinese 5-spice. She does not like the anise part of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
she will pick that flavor out. She also thinks basil tastes like licorice.
I can see that in some dishes. I've noticed that. I make pesto all the time, and I don't really notice it in the pesto, but in other things, I have noticed that. Yeah.
It's all very interesting when you think about it. And I'm kind of surrounded by particular eaters right
Mm.
now. And there aren't a lot, like I have a couple of quirks. So it's like, and like the tahini and sweet is, I feel like that's one of my big quirks. My other big quirk is I don't like overly cooked zucchini. So like when you can tell it gets mushy in the middle,
Hmm.
I'm like a hard no. But I like to cut it up in little things and saute it in like cumin and chili powder and make tacos out of it.
Oh, nice.
But I'm always, oh, and Gina says, I'm with Cheryl on the anise. I bet she doesn't like fennel either. She does in sausage. This is why it's always very confusing to me. I like have this, when I think of things I like and don't, I have a little bit of a linear mind, which is interesting because then when I'm creating recipes, I'm just like crazy person. What if I did this, right? But with other people, I'm waiting for this linear progression. And
Yeah,
uh,
you need the fennel and the sausage to give it the fennel gives it that sausagey taste.
yeah. And Jesse says, fortunately, my husband is not a particular eater. He'll eat things that I'm not too happy with. I don't understand it, but I appreciate it. And Cheryl and my best friend can both be texture eaters. So a lot of times they will eat things that I make that nobody like. So that's why all my recipes say mince an onion. Do you have to mince an onion? If you have a Cheryl, yes, you do. But, you know, and like Dawn doesn't love mushrooms, but if I chop them up, like I put them in white beans for like a Creole white bean, and it gives it such a beautiful flavor that I cut them up small and she didn't feel that texture. And I'm not a texture eater. Like the only thing that I can think of when I first had congee, it felt weird to me because usually at least where I live in the South in America, you don't get that texture without sweet,
Hmm.
you know, and so it's almost like a pudding texture, but it's warm and it's savory. But then the flavors are so brilliant from like having cilantro and basil and, you know, all those herbs that it just blew my mind. So it was like 3 seconds of to because I'm a flavor eater, and if it pleases my palate, I'm in. Let's see.
Another thing you can do with people who don't like mushrooms, I've taught cooking classes with people who say I hate mushrooms, and I've made mushroom dishes, and they're like, "Yeah, I love that." Put in the food processor, and like I mix it with lentils and make sloppy joes, or I've crumbled it with tempeh. I got a tempeh mushroom wrap on my website, and it's just crumbled tempeh and mushrooms that I've used in the food processor, and people don't know it's mushrooms.
Well, and minced mushrooms like that make such a fabulous like meat substitute in old favorite recipes.
Hmm.
And I like it because
Yeah.
people that are avoiding, you know, like non-whole foods, it's a whole food, it's got lots of good stuff for you, and it has such a wonderful umami flavor that it brings to the
Hmm.
table. And Apple
Yeah.
says, I'm on your website and you have so many fantastic salad dressings. I'm going to make
Oh,
the
thank
Caesar
you.
one today. I love a
Oh,
Caesar
thanks.
salad.
Caesar's my favorite. Yeah.
Do you put any kind of seaweed in yours?
I actually have a few Caesar recipes on my website. So there's one that's a standalone that's made with silken tofu. There's no seaweed in that. Then just a plain Caesar salad recipe that's made with cashews, and that does have seaweed in it.
Cheryl will have nothing to do with seaweed. She says it tastes like fish. I'm like, it's a vegan recipe. It tastes like fish. So like, I can't use seaweed in anything. She won't eat sushi, but she'll eat like a bowl or onigiri or something like that.
Okay.
Which is funny because
Yeah.
Dawn and I, because Dawn's my best friend who just moved here, that a lot of the people watching know. Her husband, we've decided we married the same person, though we didn't really. So Cheryl and Rob have some of the same quirks, and they won't eat, neither one of them will eat seaweed.
Oh.
And they get in trouble for the same
Are they
things.
okay? Are they okay with the flakes? Like if you just put some flakes on? Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
Because I think when it's the flakes, if you get like the gomasio, and again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that's got salt and seaweed and sesame seeds.
And
Like I
it's
think that's a nice way to
delicious.
hide it.
I've put some of that on something for her and she didn't notice, but if she can see it at all, like if she's, it's the weirdest thing with the, like we went to a bowl place and they had fish at the bowl place. Obviously we were not getting fish. Because she smelled the fish in there, when we brought the bowls home, she decided somehow fish had touched hers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Gina says, I wonder if there's a licorice gene, like the cilantro gene. That's really
There
funny.
might be. Yeah, there might be.
Well, it is really interesting. And it seems like, because I'm not a texture eater, because like flavor always wins out for me, even if something feels a little weird. But being around so many texture eaters makes you think about things differently. Does your husband have any like eating quirks?
Not really. He'll eat. We both eat pretty much anything. I do have some texture issues. Like I can't eat plain oatmeal. It's too pasty for me. So I have to put nuts and things in there, nuts and seeds. And like I can't eat a banana. The flavor. I like the flavor. It's the texture. It's just too pasty. But I'll put bananas in my smoothies. I'll make banana muffins. I'll put it. I'll make desserts with them. I just can't eat a banana. So it's just a mushy thing that I don't like.
Well, and it's interesting because Cheryl will eat bananas that I consider not ready to eat. Because she doesn't, once they get mushy, she's not interested in. To me, I'm not interested because they don't have any flavors. And melons are the same way. So if we get a melon cup somewhere with something, it's usually either hers or mine. So if it's ripe and tastes sweet, it's mine because it's too mushy for her. If it's hard and doesn't taste like anything, that she'll eat. So I'm just always like mystified, but it works out in the end that no melon goes to waste, right?
Yeah, that works out well. One of you will eat it.
Well, and I think that's all. Is there anything else we should know or we should do? What are you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, here's the finished product.
We want
Just
those.
eat them. Yeah, just make it and eat it. That's all you need to know.
And I know, and you made two and even rolled one of those while we were just chatting here. Like
I rolled both of them. I did both.
Oh, did you?
Both.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was like a half
Yeah.
an hour. You guys have no excuse because we chatted for a while first, and that's why it's plant-based chat. Because I want you to get to know all these cool people that I know, because I know the coolest people ever.
Yeah, so I rolled both of them.
Wow.
And, for both of them, I think it was like 20 minutes. Yeah, they're definitely more the chickpeas than there are the dates, but
You can even that out by the end of the day, I bet.
yeah.
Well, it's awesome, and thank you so much for coming on. I miss getting to
Thank
see you
you
in
for
person.
having me. Yeah, I miss you too. I can't wait for things to get back to normal so we can see each other.
I would love that. We definitely have to plan on going to some delicious, delicious vegan restaurant for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll be soon, fingers crossed. But until then, hopefully you'll come back on and maybe make something else yummy with us.
Oh,
again.
definitely. Absolutely. Anytime you want me, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, well, that sounds wonderful. So everybody go to diannesvegankitchen.com, get on her email list. You can also look up Dianne Wenz on Amazon and order some books, okay? And just, even if you do nothing else, then go and look at a few pages on your favorite bloggers' websites. you're helping support us and helping us make more recipes are watching this. And just know that we appreciate you a lot. Even when it may seem
Absolutely.
like Google is asking a lot. Google likes the long posts and things now. Just remember, we do have jump to recipe buttons if you need to. If you've got that extra few seconds and you scroll through some of those pictures that we spent a lot of time taking, we appreciate it even more. And probably with most of your favorite bloggers, if there's a recipe you're looking for and you can't find, you can email one of us. Email Diane, email me, and we'd probably help you out. Either we have a favorite recipe from another blogger we can point you to, or we might even just develop it just for you.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And I think I'm missing some of the conversation. I see I'll be lurking. But I missed it. Oh, and CJ's there. And CJ, I sent you an email, and I'm going to be doing a video for all the people who are testing. We've had lots of great side conversations. So you guys, if no other reason, you should come live just so you can hang out and chat with each other. We love it. Love seeing you, Diane, and much love to your kitty in her speedy recovery. And I will talk to all of you guys really soon. Have an amazing, delicious day.
Bye. Thank you.